What up YouTube? Moose coming at you once again with another unboxing video. Today we're going to look at this McLaren Formula 1 car from Revell of Germany. So let's get started. Alright, so looking at the box, so it's an older kit, like I said in the intro. It's a Revell of Germany, it's 1/24th scale, it's the McLaren Mercedes MP 412. It's kit number 07215. It's got beautiful box art on the front. So on the side they actually show some illustrations. My bad, I turned that up too far. Illustrations of the actual car. The ends, again, it's basically replicated. There's a bit of information on the bottom of the box about the real life vehicle, and that's it. So I guess let's dig into the box. Alright, so the first thing that we'll take a look at is the tires included. So they're of the like pliable rubbery type. There is a giant seam line going down the center, but that's alright because of course I will be sanding these down to give them a bit of a worn look, but they look pretty good. So the first sprue we pull out of the box has a few of the aerodynamic pieces of the car. I'm not familiar with Formula 1 cars. I know what a car looks like, but I can't tell you exactly what's what, other than like this looks like the front of the car. These might be some like side fairings. I am noticing a lot of flash on this piece here that'll have to be cleaned up, of course. Maybe back towards the wing of it there. Everything looks pretty good. It's an interesting color choice to mold it in. I'll show you the bottom side of it. And then the next thing that was in that bag was the actual body of the car. So it's a one piece for the most part. Actually kind of appreciative of this because I think it might be a hard thing to do otherwise, and considering the curves and such. So it looks fairly detailed. Again, molded in that same gray color. Definitely see where they'll be needing to clean up, where they cleaned it off their own sprue gates. And then tossed loosely in the bag was the piece of glass. Kind of unfortunate, but it does not look like it got scratched at all, which is a good thing. So the next sprue is molded in a black plastic. It's got the underbody of the car as well as the rims, and looks like maybe the seat tub and like the instrument panel and so on and so forth. Again, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but it looks pretty good. Up here, actually, I'll bring it in. There is great detail on this like radiator here. I don't know if you guys can see that very well or not. The steering wheel there. Try and show you. It doesn't show up very well because of how deep it is, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that's like the seat well. Flip it over and show you the guys the other side. So again, that louver detail. The rims look pretty good. And this would be inside the actual chassis of the or body of the car, so those ginormous ejector pins won't be a problem. And the final sprue of this model has the suspension parts, the engine, exhaust, and so on and so forth, like the double wishbones over here. Clearly the axles there. The bottom of the engine, the upper part of the engine. Not a whole lot of pieces on this kit, but what is there actually looks pretty good. So again, nicely detailed engine, the headers, some of the suspension, brake detail. So the last thing I'll show you as far as the kit part itself goes is this sheet of decals. So they look like they're starting to yellow a little bit. I'm still hopeful that they'll go down nicely. Some of the colors I'm not sure on. They're very orange and I thought it was more of a red, but I will have to see as I actually dig into the model. So as you can tell, they're very nicely done. There's even like carbon fiber decals up here if it'll focus on that. It's kind of hard to see just because it's so subtle in the reflection. Some of the steering wheel decals and lights and so on, seat belts, tires, all that kind of stuff. So they look pretty good for Revell. Alright, so the instructions are typical for Revell of Germany, at least the older style, you know, in the black and white and stuff. It's of course not the new color ones because it's an older kit. So they give you some history about the Formula One car here on the front. And in multiple languages for that matter, actually. They give Revell colors down here. I'll have to find translations to other brands because, like, for the most part, they're fairly simple. But then you get down here to I and J, and they're actually a mixture. And I don't like mixing paints. If I can avoid it, if I can go by the actual color that it's intended to be, I do so. So then on the first page, again, we got a sprue map. I love when manufacturers do that. It gives me a real quick and easy way to verify I've got all the sprues. And then the very first thing you're presented with is you have to choose between the two different cars. I don't know where that matters, but they want you to choose immediately. My guess is it comes down to some of the colors of the paints. So in step one, we build up the engine with all of the chassis or the suspension bits around it. So like there's the axle, there's the suspension, the upper lower engine block, the headers on both sides. Again, they call out their colors. I don't like that they use numbers. That's always been my gripe about Revell. I wish they'd tell me what the color number was so I don't have to flip back and forth. But I digress on that. So we come over here to step two, and it looks like we are building up maybe the rear end of the car. So we got the two halves and some of the fairings, as well as like the upper and lower wing, I guess. I'm not familiar with Formula One cars, like I said. Step three, then, we do indeed build up the seat of the car with like the dashboard and the steering wheel, putting decals on all that, putting decals for the seat belt that are molded into the seat tub. And then we come down here to step four, where we then build the front wing of it and put on the sides, and there's decals called out on there as well. So I have a feeling this is going to be one that you have to build a bit, paint it, decal it, then move on, and we'll see. Step five, they're telling you how to build the wheel up. They're saying don't glue, but I mean, like, that's a friction fit. Show you where all the decals go on that. Step six, the same thing again, but I'm assuming rear tires. Step seven, then we fit the seat into the bottom plate. We build up the front suspension bits, and there's a few various other detail parts there. Again, there's decals called out on that. Step 8, then there is more work being done on the upper part. It looks like you are adding color here, as well as adding the side mirrors. Decals again being fit. Step 9, fitting more of the details onto that, including a whole bunch of decals. Apparently here it's critical you put this decal on before you install this piece, is the way it looks. So a bunch of decals again, like I said. Step 10, we then fit the engine down onto the lower plate and add those radiators that I showed you on the sprues, painting them again before doing so. Step 11 is kind of bringing everything together now. So we start by putting some other various detail bits on the side of the chassis. Looks like maybe after you drop the upper part on, adding like the rear wing of the car. Again, there's a decal that goes on before a piece. Step 12, we add the front lower wing onto it, as well as a couple support brackets for the front suspension. And then step 13, we put the wheels on. Make sure you get the front and the rear put on their spot, as well as the upper suspension, and like the steering knuckles go there. So then, like I said, there's two color callouts for this model. Here they show you for, I'm not going to even pronounce the name because I'm not going to get it right, but they show you all the decals that are applicable for that one, as well as the colors. And then on the next page for the other one for David Coulthard. That one I will attempt because that's not too bad. So they're more or less the same car, just naming probably. And that's it.